Number 16. Then, behold, Korah the son of Isar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, with Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and also On the son of Peleth, of the sons of Reuben, rose up against Moses, with 250 others of the sons of Israel, leading men of the assembly, and who, at the time of a council, would be called by name. And when they had stood against Moses and Aaron, they said, Let it be sufficient for you that the entire multitude is of holy ones, and that the Lord is among them. Why do you elevate yourselves above the people of the Lord? When Moses had heard this, he fell prone on his face. And speaking to Korah, and to the entire multitude, he said, In the morning, the Lord will cause it to be known who belongs to him, and which holy ones he will join to himself. And whomever he will choose, they shall be close to him. Therefore, do this, each one of you, Korah and all your associates, take your censer. And drawing fire into it tomorrow, place incense upon it before the Lord. And whomever he will choose, the same shall be holy. You sons of Levi have been raised up greatly. And he said again to Korah, Listen, sons of Levi. Is it a small thing to you, that the God of Israel has separated you from all the people, and has joined you to himself, so that you would serve him in the rituals of the tabernacle, and stand before gatherings of the people, and minister to him? Was the reason that he caused you and all your brothers, the sons of Levi, to approach him, so that you would even claim for yourselves the priesthood too? And so that your entire group would stand against the Lord? For what is Aaron that you should murmur against him? Therefore, Moses sent to call for Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, who responded, We will not come. Is it a small matter to you, that you have led us away from a land that was flowing with milk and honey, so as to kill us in the desert, unless you could also be a ruler over us? You have led us, it is true, to a land that flows with streams of milk and honey, and you have given us possession of fields and vineyards. But will you also tear out our eyes? We will not come. And Moses, being very angry, said to the Lord, Do not look with favor on their sacrifices. You know that I have not accepted from them, at any time, so much as a young donkey, nor have I afflicted any of them. And he said to Korah, You and your congregation, stand alone before the Lord, and apart from Aaron, tomorrow. Let each one of you take censers, and place incense in them, offering to the Lord 250 censers. Let Aaron also hold his censer. When they had done this, Moses and Aaron stood up. And, having crowded the entire multitude close to them at the door of the tabernacle, the glory of the Lord appeared to them all. And the Lord, speaking to Moses and Aaron, said, Separate yourselves from the midst of this congregation, so that I may suddenly destroy them. But they fell prone on their faces, and they said, O most strong one, the God of the spirits of all flesh, should your anger rage against all, for the sin of one? And the Lord said to Moses, Instruct the entire people to separate from the tents of Korah, and Dathan, and Abiram. And Moses rose up and went to Dathan and Abiram. And the elders of Israel followed him. And he said to the crowd, Withdraw from the tabernacles of these impious men, and touch nothing which pertains to them, lest you become involved in their sins. And when they had withdrawn from their tents all around, Dathan and Abiram came out and stood at the entrance of their pavilions, with their wives and children, and with all their associates. And Moses said, By this shall you know that the Lord has sent me to do all that you discern, and that I have not brought these things out of my own heart. If these men pass away by the common death of men, or if they will be visited by a scourge, of the kind by which others are often visited, then the Lord did not send me. But if the Lord accomplishes something new, so that the earth opens its mouth and swallows them whole, along with everything that belongs to them, and they descend alive into the underworld, then you shall know that they have blasphemed the Lord. Therefore, as soon as he had ceased to speak, the earth broke open under their feet. And opening its mouth, it devoured them with their tabernacles and their entire substance. And they descended alive, the ground closing around them, into the underworld, and they perished from the midst of the multitude. Yet truly, all of Israel, which was standing all around, took flight at the clamor of those who were perishing, saying, lest perhaps the earth may swallow us whole also. Then, too, a fire, going forth from the Lord, put to death the 250 men who were offering the incense. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Instruct Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, to take up the censers which lie in the burning, and to scatter the fire to one side and another, because they were sanctified in the deaths of these sinners. And let him form them into plates, and affix them to the altar, because incense had been offered in them to the Lord, and they were sanctified, and so that the sons of Israel may discern in them a sign and a memorial. Therefore, Eleazar the priest took the bronze censers, by which those whom the burning devoured had made an offering, and he formed them into plates, affixing them to the altar, so that the sons of Israel would have, thereafter, something to admonish them, lest any stranger, or anyone who is not of the offspring of Aaron, might approach to offer incense to the Lord, and lest he endure what happened to Korah, and to all his congregation, when the Lord spoke to Moses. Then, the following day, the entire multitude of the sons of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron, saying, You have put to death the people of the Lord. And when there arose a sedition, and the tumult increased, Moses and Aaron fled to the tabernacle of the covenant. But after they had entered it, the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared. And the Lord said to Moses, Withdraw from the midst of this multitude, and I will destroy them immediately. And while they were lying on the ground, Moses said to Aaron, Take the censer, and draw fire into it from the altar, place incense upon it, and continue on, quickly, to the people, to pray for them. For already wrath has gone forth from the Lord, and the scourge rages. When Aaron had done this, and he ran into the midst of the multitude, which the burning fire was now destroying, and he offered the incense. And standing between the dead and the living, he prayed for the people, and the scourge ceased. But the number of those who were struck down was 14,000 men, and 700, aside from those who had perished in the sedition of Korah. And Aaron returned to Moses at the door of the tabernacle of the covenant, after the destruction quieted. Numbers 17. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, and receive from each of them a rod by their kinships, from all the leaders of the tribes, 12 rods, and write the name of each one on his rod. But the name of Aaron shall be for the tribe of Levi, and one rod separately shall contain all their families. And you shall place these in the tabernacle of the covenant before the testimony, where I will speak to you. Whomever of these I will choose, his rod will germinate, and so shall I restrain the complaints of the sons of Israel before me, by which they murmur against you. And Moses spoke to the sons of Israel. And all the leaders gave him rods, one for each tribe. And there were 12 rods, aside from the rod of Aaron. And when Moses had placed these before the Lord, in the tabernacle of the testimony, returning on the following day, he found that the rod of Aaron for the house of Levi had germinated, and that the swelling buds had opened into flowers, which, spreading their petals, were formed into those of an almond tree. Therefore, Moses brought out all the rods, from the side of the Lord, to all the sons of Israel. And they saw, and each one received their rods. And the Lord said to Moses, Carry back the rod of Aaron into the tabernacle of the testimony, so that it may be kept there as a sign of the rebellion of the sons of Israel, and so that their complaints may be quieted before me, lest they die. And Moses did just as the Lord had instructed. Then the sons of Israel said to Moses, Behold, we have been consumed, we have been ruined. Whoever approaches to the tabernacle of the Lord dies. Will we all be wiped away, even to total annihilation? Numbers 18. And the Lord said to Aaron, You, and your sons, and the house of your father with you, shall carry the iniquity of the sanctuary. And you and your sons together shall bear the sins of your priesthood. But take to yourselves also your brothers from the tribe of Levi, and the scepter of your father, and may they be prepared, and may they minister to you. Then you and your sons shall minister in the tabernacle of the testimony. And the Levites shall stand watch by your precepts, and for all the works of the tabernacle, yet in such a manner that they shall not approach the vessels of the sanctuary and of the altar, lest both they die, and you perish, at the same time. But they may be with you, and they may watch over the care of the tabernacle and all its ceremonies. A foreigner shall not be mixed with you. Watch over the care of the sanctuary, and over the ministry of the altar, lest an indignation may rise over the sons of Israel. I have given your brothers, the Levites, to you from the midst of the sons of Israel, and I have delivered them as a gift to the Lord, in order to serve in the ministries of his tabernacle. But as for you and your sons, guard the priesthood. For all that pertains to the service of the altar and of what is beyond the veil shall be exercised by the priests. If any outsider will approach, he shall be killed. And the Lord said to Aaron, Behold, I have given you custody of my first fruits. Everything that is sanctified by the sons of Israel I have delivered to you and your sons, for the office of the priesthood, by everlasting ordinances. Therefore, you shall receive these, from the things that are sanctified and offer to the Lord. Every offering, and sacrifice, and whatever is repaid to me, on behalf of sin and also for offenses, and which becomes the Holy of Holies, shall be for you and for your sons. You shall eat it in the sanctuary. Only the males shall eat from it, because it has been consecrated for you. But the first fruits, which the sons of Israel shall vow and offer, I have given to you, and to your sons, as well as to your daughters, by a perpetual right. Whoever is clean in your house shall eat them. All the innermost of the oil, and of the wine, and of the grain, whatever first fruits they offer to the Lord, I have given to you. All the first of the crops, which the soil produces and which are carried to the Lord, shall fall to your use. Whoever is clean in your house shall eat them. All that the sons of Israel shall repay by vow shall be yours. Whatever goes out first from the womb, of all flesh, which they offer to the Lord, whether from men or from cattle, shall be your right, yet only in so far as, for the firstborn of man, you shall accept a price. And every animal that is unclean you shall cause to be redeemed. And its redemption shall be, after 1 month, 5 shekels of silver, by the weight of the sanctuary. A shekel has 20 balls. But the firstborn of a cow, or of a sheep, or of a goat, you shall not cause to be redeemed, because they have been sanctified to the Lord. Thus, their blood you shall pour out upon the altar, and their fat you shall burn as a most sweet odor to the Lord. Yet truly, the flesh shall fall to your use, just as the consecrated breast and the right shoulder shall be yours. All the first fruits of the sanctuary, which the sons of Israel offer to the Lord, I have given to you and to your sons as well as to your daughters, as a perpetual right. It is an everlasting covenant of salt before the Lord, for you and for your sons. And the Lord said to Aaron, In their land, you shall possess nothing, neither shall you have a portion among them. I am your portion and your inheritance in the midst of the sons of Israel. But I have given, to the sons of Levi, all the tithes of Israel as a possession, for the ministry by which they serve me in the tabernacle of the covenant. So that the sons of Israel may no longer approach to the tabernacle, nor commit deadly sin. Only the sons of Levi may serve me in the tabernacle and may carry the sins of the people. It shall be an everlasting ordinance in your generations. They shall possess nothing else. Being content with the oblation of tithes, which I have separated for their uses and necessities. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Instruct the Levites, and also declare to them, when you will receive, from the sons of Israel, the tithes, which I have given to you, offer their first fruits to the Lord, that is, the 10th part of a tenth, so that it may be accounted to you as an oblation of the first fruits, as much from the threshing floors as from the oil and wine presses. And offer the first fruits of everything, from which you receive tithes, to the Lord, and give them to Aaron the priest. Everything which you shall offer from the tithes, and which you shall separate as gifts to the Lord, shall be the finest and most select. And you shall say to them, if you offer the noble and the better of the tithes, it shall be accounted to you as if you had given from the first fruits of the threshing floor and of the oil and wine presses. And you shall eat these in all your places, both you and your families, because it is your price for the ministry, by which you serve in the tabernacle of the testimony. And you shall not sin in this way, by reserving the excellent and fat things for yourselves, lest you pollute the oblations of the sons of Israel, and lest you die. Numbers 19. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, This is the ritual that the Lord has appointed for a victim. Instruct the sons of Israel, so that they may bring to you a red cow of full maturity, in which there is no blemish, and which has not carried a yoke. And you shall deliver it to Eleazar the priest, who, having led it out beyond the camp, shall immolate it in the sight of all. And dipping his finger in its blood, he shall sprinkle it 7 times, opposite the door of the tabernacle. And he shall burn it, while all are watching, delivering into the flame, not only its skin and flesh, but also the blood and dung. Likewise, cedar wood, and hyssop, and twice dyed scarlet he shall cast into the flame, by which the cow is consumed. And then finally, having washed his garments and his body, he shall enter into the camp, and he shall be deeply stained until evening. Then he also who had burned it shall wash his garments and his body, and he shall be unclean until evening. Then a clean man shall gather the ashes of the cow, and he shall pour them out beyond the camp, in a very pure place, so that they may be preserved for the multitude of the sons of Israel, and for the water of aspersion, because the cow was burned for sin. And when he who had carried the ashes of the cow will have washed his garments, he shall be unclean until evening. The sons of Israel, and the newcomers who live among them, shall have this as a holy and perpetual right. Whoever touches the corpse of a man, and is, because of this, unclean for 7 days, shall be sprinkled from this water on the 3rd and 7th days, and so shall he be cleansed. But if he was not sprinkled on the 3rd day, he is not able to be cleansed on the 7th. Anyone who will have touched the dead body of a human life, and who has not been sprinkled with this mixture, pollutes the tabernacle of the Lord, and he shall perish out of Israel. For not having been sprinkled with the water of expiation, he shall be unclean, and his filth shall remain upon him. This is the law of a man who dies in a tent. All who enter into his tent, and all the vessels which are there, shall be polluted for 7 days. The vessel that has no cover or binding over it shall be unclean. If anyone in the field will have touched the corpse of a man, who was killed or who died on his own, or his bone, or his grave, he shall be unclean for 7 days. And they shall take some of the ashes from the burning and the sin offering, and they shall pour living waters over them into a vessel. And into it a man who is clean shall dip hyssop, and he shall sprinkle from it the entire tent, and all its articles, and the men who were polluted by means of contact. And so, in this manner, what is clean shall purify what is unclean, on the 3rd and 7th days. And have been expiated on the 7th day, he shall wash both himself and his garments, and he shall be unclean until evening. If anyone has not been expiated by this ritual, his soul shall perish from the midst of the church. For he has polluted the sanctuary of the Lord, and he has not been sprinkled with purifying waters. This precept shall be an everlasting ordinance. Likewise, the one who has sprinkled the waters shall wash his garments. All who will have touched the waters of expiation shall be unclean until evening. Whatever has been touched by something unclean will itself be made unclean. And the soul who touches any of these things shall become unclean until evening. Numbers 20. And the sons of Israel, and the entire multitude, went into the desert of Sin, in the first month. And the people stayed at Kadesh. And Miriam died there, and she was buried in the same place. And when the people were in need of water, they came together against Moses and Aaron. And as it turned into sedition, they said, "If only we had perished among our brothers in the sight of the Lord. Why have you led away the church of the Lord into the wilderness, so that both we and our cattle would die? Why did you cause us to ascend from Egypt, and why have you led us into this most wretched place, which is not able to be sown, which does not produce figs, or vines, or pomegranates, and which, moreover, does not even have water to drink?" And Moses and Aaron, dismissing the multitude, entered the tabernacle of the covenant, and they fell prone on the ground, and they cried out to the Lord, and they said, "O Lord God, listen to the outcry of this people, and open for them, from your storehouse, a fountain of living water, so that, being satisfied, their murmuring may cease." And the glory of the Lord appeared over them. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Take the rod, and gather the people, you and your brother Aaron, and speak to the rock before them, and it shall bestow waters. And when you have brought forth water from the rock, the entire multitude and their cattle shall drink." Therefore, Moses took the rod, which was in the sight of the Lord, just as he had instructed him. And having gathered the multitude before the rock, he said to them, "Listen, you who are rebellious and unbelieving. Would we be able to cast out water from this rock?" And when Moses had lifted up his hand, striking the stone twice with the rod, very great waters went forth, so much so that the people and their cattle were able to drink. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Because you did not believe me, so as to sanctify me before the sons of Israel, you shall not lead this people into the land, which I will give to them. This is the water of contradiction, where the sons of Israel were quarreling against the Lord, and he was sanctified in them." Meanwhile, Moses sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom. They said, "Your brother Israel says this, you know of all the hardships which have overtaken us. How our fathers descended into Egypt, and we lived there for a long time, and the Egyptians afflicted both us and our fathers. And how we cried out to the Lord, and he heeded us and sent an angel, who led us away from Egypt. Behold, we are situated in the city of Kadesh, which is at the extremity of your borders. And we beg you to permit us to cross through your land. We will not go through the fields, nor through the vineyards, we will not drink the waters of your wells, but we will travel by the public ways, neither turning aside to the right, nor to the left, until we have passed your borders." Edom responded to them, "You shall not cross through me, otherwise, I will meet you armed." And the sons of Israel said, "We will travel by the well-trodden path. And if we or our cattle drink from your waters, we will give you what is just. There shall be no difficulty in the price, only let us cross through quickly." But he answered, "You shall not cross." And immediately he went out to meet them with a countless multitude and a strong hand. Neither was he willing to agree to their petition to concede passage through his borders. For this reason, Israel diverted away from him. And when they had moved the camp from Kadesh, they arrived at Mount Hor, which is at the borders of the land of Edom, where the Lord spoke to Moses. "Let Aaron," he said, "go to his people. For he shall not enter into the land which I have given to the sons of Israel, because he did not believe my mouth at the waters of contradiction. Take Aaron, and his son with him, and lead them onto Mount Hor. And when you have stripped the father of his vestments, you shall put them on Eleazar, his son. Aaron shall be gathered and shall die there." Moses did just as the Lord had instructed. And they ascended Mount Hor, in the sight of the entire multitude. And when he had despoiled Aaron of his vestments, he clothed his son Eleazar with them. And when Aaron had died at the top of the mountain, Moses came down with Eleazar. And the entire multitude, seeing that Aaron lay dead, wept over him for 30 days, throughout all their families. Thank you for watching. If you like the content on this channel, please press subscribe, the like button or comment below. We'd love to get your tips. See you next time.